Hello there, Ray here. We got a brand new version for the Java edition. This is 1.21.6 pre-release 1 being the very first pre-release, and pre-releases come right after snapshots. And then after the pre-release, we're going to have release candidates and then the full release. Now, when the full release will come out is a little bit unknown at the moment, but I did ask you guys what you thought, and the majority of you guys thought it was going to be mid-June, with the rest thinking it's either going to be early or late June. And you'll get informed about these weekly polls if you guys are subscribed to me with the bell notification set to all. And since we're in the pre-release stages, this means they're going to be mostly focusing on fixing bugs that occurred during the making of the snapshots and are not going to add in any major features. But there are still some interesting changes that came out this week, so let's take a look at those. Now, in my video where I was showing really cool tricks you can do with the new happy gas, I showed this trick where you can jump with the horse and pull the happy gas upwards, but there was this one problem, that is your horse could sometimes desync and the player would actually slip off of the horse and sink down into the happy gas and kind of get stuck inside of it. But this was fixed today. Let's go ahead and try it and give this horse a jump boost, hop onto the horse. You can see I can stand on the happy gas. And if I use a lead on the happy gas and I jump, I no longer fall through the happy gas. But it seems the player is no longer actually pulling the happy gas along with them, which might have to do with the change that they made where the player can get further with the lead when holding a happy gas before it actually breaks, which essentially means that the lead isn't going to be as springy as it used to be, so my idea of making an elevator like this no longer works. He also fixed this problem when you had multiple people riding happy gas. If one of them would hop off, it could sometimes end up getting dismounted and falling right through the gas rather than standing on top of it. And now you see if you're moving and then you dismount, the other player immediately is placed on top of it. And as soon as the other player is on top of the gas, you can no longer move the gas even if you're the one in control. This can also happen if you just happen to fly underneath of a player. As soon as you fly underneath the player, it just completely freezes the gas. I don't know if this is quite an intended feature, as somebody just standing on like their balcony could stop you from actually pulling your gas up completely forward. Do you think this is a bug, or should they keep it like this? They also fixed this rare circumstance of it happening in single player when you're riding your happy gas and you happen to dismount and you just end up falling through, which is really bad if you're in the end dimension and there's void underneath and you're just going to instant die in the void. They fixed it so you can no longer take your happy gas you're riding and ride it through another player's happy gas. That way the gas respects the collision of other gas. But if there's no player riding it, you can kind of clip your gas into just a free roaming gas. Now that we have a new way to remove saddles, armor, as well as similar things off of rideable mobs using shears, we also now have a new vibration that comes off of this. So when you shear off a saddle, this is going to make a vibration frequency of 6, which can be detected by the skulk, and it's going to put a redstone power of 6. And then the actual unequipping of the armor is going to put off a different frequency. This will be 4, which will also put off a signal strength of 4. And when the dried gas changes modes, so when it has a sad face, when it changes to a normal face, this will also put off a new type of vibration frequency of 11, which can also be detected by Skulk and used in redstone. And this adds to the long list of different things that can be detected using Skulk, and Calibrated Skulk lets you be more specific what type of vibration frequency you're going for. This is helpful in doing more complicated farms, such as my AFK treasure loot fish farm. They added in a new keybind into the game of Minecraft. We go here to controls and then to keybinds. And then if we scroll down in the section called miscellaneous, we can see we got a new one, which is called quick action, and its default is set to G. Now, quick action is only used in the new dialogues, which are little menus that can pop up in your face. They can have words on here to tell you certain things, and servers can use this to give you information. So on a server, you could push G and it would pull this up, and then you can read information about maybe the latest thing that's going on the server, or important information you might need in order to play the game properly. For creative players, you can set the world spawn point. This is where your spawn chunks will be at. But besides just putting in your X, Y, and Z coordinates, we can also put it in the angle now, and it will actually respect it. So if I add an angle of 33, now when you die and get placed at the world spawn point, you're going to be turned at 33 degrees, and you can see this right here in the F3 screen. This is actually really nice, especially when I provide world downloads for you guys, because I can make it so that as soon as you spawn in the world, you'll automatically be facing the direction of the machine. Now when it comes to items and how they appear to be based off of where they actually are, it's always seemed a bit odd because the items will be floating way up here, but the actual item is down here where this little box is. But the reason why they move it up so high is to prevent the visual of the item from clipping into the ground. Such as like this item model where this big huge dragon skull, the very bottom of the jaw is clipping into the block over here. So they changed that. So now the dragon head is even higher up off of the ground so that it never clips into the actual ground, which does look really strange, but makes sense. Now, if you ever try placing down a whole bunch of these new dried ghast, they did put off a really annoying ambient sound. They changed that, so now the ambient sound, instead of being controlled by the ambient noises, it's controlled by the block noises, so you can turn it down if you want to. Now with the recent changes to clouds so that they will now look different and also render further, this was causing some significant frames per second decrease, so they went ahead and optimized this so that it is much nicer. There was a snapshot only problem where villager zombies would spawn into the game. Every single type would always end up being one of these professionless versions rather than randomly having a profession, so they reverted it back. There was a very funny snapshot only bug. When the sniffer was supposed to be walking, it would end up really just showing the sniffer doing its digging animation. So every time it would move, it would always do this type of animation, which was so silly. Other bugs that were fixed in the snapshot include making sure that URLs were shortened. The lectern item won't be sticking outside of its little box. Custom maps will upgrade properly. Illegal names will not be allowed in data pack create. Sprites won't be allowed to clip through. Custom heads will appear to be custom in the inventory once again. Quitting a single player world won't send you to the server menu. Newly placed paintings won't appear in the wrong location. Menus popping up at the wrong time. Items that are supposed to be kept during death with keep inventory rule on are now also kept. Vanish enchantments will work on saddles if you use commands to put them on. The clear command also now works for body armor as well as saddle slots. Running commands with a large output will no longer crash the game. Using the new nameplates on custom mobs won't be showed incorrectly. Warning text will now visually pop up properly. Buttons will once be clickable on realms. Big items will no longer leak into other slots. And at high resolution, some items won't vanish. With other behind the scenes changes, meaning the data pack and the resource pack got upgraded. For map makers, they also came in with common dialogue fields with a bunch of customizations. There's also different types of dialogues, as well as input control types and actions, which should allow vanilla map makers to do some really cool things. We also got new item models with size customizations. Bedrock Edition also got the beta and preview, which was only full of a bunch of smaller bug fixes. And get ready to play the newest version with others by having your own Minecraft server. Just like I have my testing server here, you guys can also do this easily with Bisect hosting, as they make running a Minecraft server easy. I've been using them for over 10 years, and if you use the code RAY or the link in the description, you'll get 25% off. And speaking of my testing server, this Friday I will be over there for about 5 or 6 hours, making a list of everything you should do before upgrading to the new update. So I'll see you all then, and bye bye!